everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kathy at Attic Treasures, etc. And today I'm doing the project for day 24 of Ephemera 2022, which is the collaboration hosted by Barbara at 49 Dragonflies and Louisa Heinzel at Junk Journal Arts. So for today's project, it's going to be coffee or tea and a specimen card. So why don't we go ahead and get started. So what I did is I coffee dyed this piece of just student grade watercolor paper, and this is all it is. I just got it at a thrift store for 99 cents, 90 pounds, 9 by 12, nothing fancy. And actually, it didn't take the coffee dyeing very well. You can barely see it. It's more prevalent on the other side where it was on the gridded cooling rack that I had it on. But I'm going to go ahead and use it anyway. I'm going to count it as coffee, but we're also going to use a tea bag in making this specimen card. So I feel like I'm covering both of the bases. So what I want to do is to add some stenciling to it. I'm going to use vintage photo just to give it some interest. And I need to refresh this ink pad a little bit, so I'm using some of the Distress Refresher. And I'm going to have to, obviously, do some re-inking on it pretty soon. But I wanted to finish this project first. Let's see, so get a little bit more over on this side. And again, this is just to give it some more visual interest. Down the side a little bit. I was kind of hoping that the coffee dyeing would show up enough to where it provided its own interest, but as it turns out, it didn't. At least on this watercolor paper. I mean, a lot of times when I coffee dye paper, I get some really pretty patterns, but this is copy paper. It's a little bit heavier. I think it's 28 pound than what I normally use in my printer. But I just wanted something, since this is a specimen card, I wanted something that had a little more substance to it. So that's why I chose to use the watercolor paper. So, we'll see how it goes. So I hope everybody's having a good day. We're just kind of hanging out, doing our thing, which is my husband's on the computer working on a program that he has, and I'm here in my craft room, my happy place, my fortress of solitude. I love it in here. Okay, so I think that's enough stenciling. And now I'm going to fold it in half. And I want to cut a circle out. And I don't know if you have ever used one of these, what are they called? Shape cutters before. But I really do like it, especially for something that has some substance to it like this does. And what I do is I use these stencils that come with it, and I wanted to use this circle. So I'm going to put it here and make sure that you're in frame, or that I'm in frame. Okay, that works. But I need to be able to see what I'm doing. I want to center the circle. Get this in the center. So I've got I should have mentioned, this is 4 inches by 9 inches. I felt like that would be a good size. So I'm going to get this centered, get my circle template centered, and I want it to be about a 1/2 inch from the top of this. And I'm going to just measure that real quick, because when I was playing around with this process, I got it too low on the last one that I did. So I just want to make sure that it still worked out, but you know, I want it to be right. I want it to be the way I want it. So this has grid lines on it, so it makes it easy to place, except now it's slippery. And I think that's probably about right. Yep. Okay, so this should be the center of the circle. This is by Fiskars. I've had it for quite a long time. And I have oval stencils and rectangles and just different shapes. That should have gone all the way through. Make sure it goes through the bottom layer as well. A lot of times it'll go through both layers at once. Okay, good. So that's pretty good. That's right where I wanted it. I'll put a link to this little tool in the description below if you're interested in getting one of these. They do help. And I want to ink around the edges. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside while I work on the tea bag. Now, when I was doing the tea bag portion of the Ephemera, I found out that when you use Mod Podge on the tea bag, it becomes almost completely transparent, and it looked really cool. So I've got some Mod Podge gloss here, and I'm going to coat both sides and then dry it. And I'm going to wrap my collage medium brush in my little homemade baby wipe here, just to keep it moist there, and then I'm going to dry this off. So can you see how that made this almost completely transparent? And I really, really, really like that. Okay, now the animal for this particular project is a dragonfly. And what better thing to put on a specimen card than a dragonfly? So I have this stamp, and I believe it's a Tim Holtz stamp. And I'm going to use StazOn black. And I'm going to stamp this right onto this Mod Podged area of this tea bag. And look how beautiful that is. And what's cool is that it looks just as beautiful on the other side. So now I would like to color in the wings of my dragonfly. And I'm going to use my watercolor pencils. And these are Royal and Langnickel Essentials watercolor pencils. And I'll put a link to them in the description below. And I'm just going to use blues and greens and purples. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And maybe if I put this paper under it, it shows up a little bit better. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not an entomologist, so I don't really know all the proper colors for a dragonfly, but we do have some damselflies and dragonflies around here. In fact, we saw more this past summer than I think we've ever seen, and I don't know if it was because it was so hot or what the situation was that caused us to see more dragonflies, but we really saw a lot this past year. But it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because why? Say it with me, everybody. It's a junk journal. We can do whatever we want. No rules. Okay, I've got some blue. Let's add a little purple. Purple doesn't seem to be coloring in very well. Let's add a little bit of water with my water brush. There we go. Now we can see it. And I'm going to add a little bit of green to his body. I think that's really pretty. Okay, I'm going to dry him off and be right back. Okay, so I really like the way this turned out, and as you can see it from the other side too, which is, as far as I'm concerned, quite the bonus. All right, now what we need to do is to get this guy in the center of my specimen card, and I'm going to use double back tape, and I just got this double back tape at the dollar store, so nothing fancy or anything. Let's move that out of the way. And I'm going to keep it a little bit away from the edge because I want to sew around the edge. Because if you've watched my channel at all for a while, you know that I really like to sew everything. Alrighty, now I'm just going to place this dragonfly, try to center it in the hole here, best I can. A little more double back tape. Okay, a little trim. So I'm going to sew around the edges and I'll be right back. Okay, so I really love how this turned out. Let's pull that stitch through. There we go. I love that you can see the dragonfly really well from both sides. See? And turn it over and it looks just as good. Okay, so now we're not quite done decorating this or preparing it, I guess. I want to round the corners, and I'm going to use my corner chomper, and I'm using the 1/4 inch radius because I just want, you know, a small little radius. I'm going to keep that out because I'm going to use it again. And I want to put some decoration here on the bottom. So I have a couple of things I wanted to add. So this little specimen card here, and I want to put that up here at the top. And because I can't resist flowers, I'm going to add some flowers. And we're going to also add a little twist to this, which I'll explain in a minute. But I want to add these little ideology hardware heads. So let's get this stuff on first. Of course, we have to ink the edges. And I also want to make sure that the corners where I rounded them are also inked as well. And also the flower. Get rid of some of these white edges, which in some cases it doesn't look bad, but when everything else is inked up, I like to ink up the white edges on the flowers too. And these are also Tim Holtz from his Ideology Botanicals collection. So let's see, I think I want to add the specimen card first, or this label. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue. I want to make sure it gets centered. So normally I don't really care that much if it's centered, but for a specimen card, it just seems like it's, you know, you're doing something sort of pseudo-scientific. And having been a quality engineer, when you're doing sciencey stuff, it should be centered. That's just me. You notice I didn't try to sew around the circle. That's because circles are really hard to sew around, and I didn't want to mess it up. I'm really capable of messing things up, but I just wanted this to be right. Okay, so I've got these little Ideology hardware heads, and I haven't even opened them yet, so like my unsafe way I try to open things. That'll go popping out all over the place. All right, I want to use the ones with the little Phillips head. Oh, they come in different sizes. Oh, look at that. Awesome. I want the little ones. Put those there. And put those down there. This one on that side, I think the flower's going to cover it up, so. Okay, I better put the top back on this because I know that if I don't, these are going to be all over the place. All right, so I'll put this flower on first. Okay, we might be able to add one down there. Now, I've never put these on before, so I'm really hoping that art glitter glue will work. Oh, they're so cute. And it looks like I can add one more right there. We'll try that. Let's try putting a little dab of glue here and then putting the hardware head on it. Instead of trying to balance it on my finger. That worked better. Okay, let's spin this around. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, I want to add a little twist to this because I want to add a journaling spot. So I'm going to take this, it's the same width and the same length, or yeah, the same width this way, and it is 1.25 inches in this direction. So I want to put it on the back, but I want to stencil on it as well. But I think I will use the numbers. I'm going to round the corners. And ink the edges. I don't know why I put that away. Now, on the back, I'm going to punch a hole here in the corner with my little mini puncher. And I want to add a brad. I really need a small one. I'm just going to take a little bit of this washi tape and cover up the brad there. Okay, so I am going to call this done. So we have, well, it was a coffee-dyed piece of watercolor paper, even though the coffee didn't show up very well, but we did use a tea bag, and that is tea-stained. And you can see the dragonfly from both sides, which I think is cool. And then it also has this little journaling spot. So you can journal on this side or on the other side, and if you put it on this side, then you've got a nice little secret message. So I hope you like this. These are really super fun to do, and especially when you can take your tea bag and put some Mod Podge on it. Doesn't have to be glossy. The matte Mod Podge makes it transparent as well. and then you can use watercolors or whatever to color in your design. So I really enjoyed this, and this is my specimen card for Ephemera 2022 day 24. So there's one day left, so stay tuned for the next video, which will be for a leather and an ATC, which is an artist trading card, which I've not made one of those before either. But thank you all for joining me today. So happy crafting, everybody. Let the serendipity find you. I'll see you in my next video. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you know when I've uploaded it. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.